Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. We will begin our English online theatre shortly. Please stay tuned with us and wait for the others to join for a while. Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Nur Shafika binti Abduraza and I will be your MC for our English Online Theatre, a night of dramatic short stories for tonight. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for joining us today. For your information, this program is a collaboration between Eagles English Club and Abstract Theatre Unit of UiTM Campus Kuala Pila. So, there are 3 stories that are going to be performed for our virtual theatre tonight, which are The Auction, written by Zilfa Zainal Abidin, The Misfortune of Ruslinda Awang, written by Professor Madia Dr. Xavier Tayalan, and the last one is The Green Lady, written by Zilfa Zainal Abidin. Please be informed that this dramatic reading will take about 1 hour and 10 minutes of your time. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting any time, let's start with the first short story. Before that, I would love to remind our audiences to mute the microphone and to turn off your camera throughout the short story. Our actors are in different parts of the country, hence internet connection may vary for some. Please bear with us for any technical issues or glitches. Now, please enjoy the auction.
We have to discuss this carefully. This is my daughter's future. She can't live on love alone, you know.
Nora's daydreaming was interrupted by urgent voices discussing arrangement concerning nuptial matters. Hers, to be exact. The voice of her mother was the loudest, and she obviously was the dominant party in the discussion. Datin Ani, Nora's mother, was by nature a woman of strong character. She loved being in charge, most of the time, of other people's lives. And the life in question for today was that of Nora's, her own precious daughter. Finding the right partner for Nora was her pet project for the year, a project which she herself had set a deadline to. By year end, Nora would no longer be alone. No mistakes this time. Nora heard her mother's voice going to a higher pitch. This always happened, especially when her mother was annoyed and wanted to stand her grounds. Nora rolled her eyes and shook her head slowly. For her mother to be doing this to her is such an absurdity. Having to go through this again was a drag. Nora looked out of her bedroom window. She saw 3-year-old Honey happily playing in the garden. She wished she was Honey. Her thoughts drifted. Nora heard the clanking of a bell, not anything like the beautiful sounds of the wedding bells, which could be relevant for her situation, yet not so relevant as she was Malay. The clanking went on and was causing quite a din. Obviously, it was meant to attract the attention of other people. But attract them to what? She had her answer when her mother, in all her gloriousness, came into the scene. With a bell, Nora was confused. Wasn't her mother in the living room discussing dowry rates? Cling, cling, cling! On went the clanking, and ladies started gathering around the vivacious Datin with the bell.
Come on! Come on!
Datin Ani's voice rang clear. The ladies came in many shapes, size, and colors. Thanks to Puan Srivita, many interested mothers came. Some came out of curiosity.
Boy, Tatin, you are still glowing with youthfulness, I must say. Whatever beauty secret you have, please do share us.
Puantika exclaimed excitedly. She wasn't exactly Datin Ani's favorite person.
Oh, hello, Tipa. Don't flatter me too much for discounts. If I told you my secrets, it wouldn't be a secret anymore, would it? You're not too bad yourself. But maybe a bit of liposuction and also some nip and tuck here and there is what you need. I can recommend you a good doctor in Switzerland if you want. Terribly expensive, but absolutely effective. But enough about that. You all here to come have a look at my Nora. Please come nearer, ladies.
The ladies looked at Nora intently from head to toe. Some were taking down notes, others were exchanging opinions on what they saw, and one lady in bright orange was talking on the phone, giving live commentary to the person on the other end of what was going on. Nora was in a daze. Where was she? Why was her mother acting like that? Who were these people? Why were they scrutinizing her? She felt strange. She looked down and saw that he was dressed in an extravagantly stylish sakaya, which she never remembered owning. Nora had matching blue suede shoes with pretty little bows on them. Her hand went up to her head and felt that her hair was a few inches higher than it usually was. Nora quickly reached into her matching blue handbag and brought out a mirror. The reflection in the mirror shockingly showed a hissed Datin through clenched teeth.
Poise nicely, lah, Nora. What's wrong with you? People are watching, you know.
Nora managed to push one leg to the side, right hand on her protruding hip, and the other hand outstretched to the left. And she smiled like she never smiled before. The clanking of the bell continued.
Nora is my only daughter, my only child. In fact,
Datin Ani was moving forward and backward, clanking the bell between her lines. She continued.
I have to be selective when choosing a partner for her. You understand, can ladies? It's not that I want to be difficult.
There were murmurs from the audience. Only then, Nora realized that she was part of an auction scene, and the item to be auctioned off was her. Again, she thought, wasn't her mother supposed to be in the living room discussing dowry rates? Suddenly, the clanking of the bell was no longer heard. She was in her bedroom, and she could clearly hear what was being discussed outside. Nora then heard a voice responding.
But you asking for too high a price, Ratin. My son only started his legal practice. Please reconsider our request.
Her mother responded.
Alahai, Cik Yam. My Nora is a good catch. She comes from a good family. She has an excellent academic qualifications and she is quite a looker, even if I say so myself.
Cik Yam nodded and said,
We know Nora has everything that we should look for in a daughter-in-law, but we still need to negotiate the price of the dowry. I told you that my son is a struggling lawyer. If you give him a year, then I'm sure he could afford it. But if it's a matter by having the wedding by year end, then please reconsider. The sum you stated is too high. Asma did mention that Nora was.
Datin Ani did not let her finish her sentence. Cling, cling, cling! Nora found herself standing on a small podium, still striking a pose, and not anymore in the bedroom. She saw her mother vigorously ringing the bell and moving to the left and to the right of the podium.
Mothers of my future son-in-law, come closer. Come and look at this fine creation of God.
Datin Ani beckoned. The sound of the bell rang across the room.
Crowning glory like no others,
She said, running her fingers through her daughter's hair.
Skin, satin smooth.
Like iron.
Perfect pearly whites.
Continued massaging Nora's tired jaws as Nora forced a bright smile.
An hourglass figure.
said the Datin, as both her hands traced the outlines of an hourglass figure. Nora changed her pose every 3 minutes and was running out of ideas on what to do next. The clanking of the bell continued.
Come on, come on! Bid for the prize of starting at 5,000, 12,000, 5,000 ringgit.
A lady with a floral scarf raised her hand and exclaimed.
6,000 ringgit.
The beaming Datin said.
Thank you, Cik Yang. 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. Come on, mothers. Where's Tipa? Ah, there you are. Very quiet, I see.
Tipa grinned sheepishly, trying to stay unnoticed behind her Versace-like shades.
I will go for 7,000 ringgit.
Called out the lady in bright pink.
Oh, good, madam.
Cried out the delighted Datin.
7,000, 7,000, 7,000.
Datin Ani then approached a lady in the red dress who was looking rather worried.
Yes, Puan. Can you give me a good price?
Asked Datin Ani to the lady.
You know what? I will give you 7,500 for your daughter and no more.
Exclaimed the
Could
lady.
you just stop at 7,500?
The lady asked.
I agree.
So the lady agreed, interjected a lady who was wearing a blouse in leopard print pattern. Cik Yam, the nice lady with the floral scarf, came up and said,
Datin, 10,000 is too much. 8,000 is the most I can offer. You see, my son is a struggling lawyer. He sent me here to get Nora. You see, they are in love. My son doesn't mind accepting Nora's.
Again, her sentence was cut short by the Datin.
Nonsense.
Datin Ani retorted.
Nora's young, of an excellent breeding, and boasts a master's degree in business administration. An MBA from the States, you know. 7,100 is definitely not enough. And at least 10,000 is what I have in mind.
Well, then I am very sorry, Datin. I'm afraid the price is not right for many of us here.
Called out the lady in the leopard print blouse.
I will look for a better deal elsewhere.
She continued.
Hey, ladies, I heard that the handler is asking not more than 10,000 for her pretty young daughter. I heard this girl just come back from finishing school in Switzerland, equipped with the necessary skills to be a fine lady. That's what I call a good deal.
Datin Ani defended herself by saying,
Oh, come, ladies. Many people have been eyeing Nora. You all are lucky to be shortlisted as her potential in-laws.
Datin Ani brushed past the leopard skin lady and approached Cik Yam.
Madam, I recognize you. You're Asman's mother, aren't you? I'm sorry if your Asman cannot afford my Nora. People have been asking about her, you see. I'm just giving chance to interested parties to prove themselves worthy of Nora's hand.
Datin, we're leaving for Datin handler. All the best to you. If your price ever goes down, please contact us. You have our numbers. Bye.
And with that smug remark, the leopard print lady and her gang left. leaving the Datin, Yam, and a few others staring after them. Datin Ani smirked, saying,
All the best to you at Hendon. Yeah, waiting for my call.
then she turned to Yam and said,
Now, maknya Azman, where were we?
Datin, I do like to negotiate some more. I like Nora and I'm happy that my son has found his happiness by knowing her. But I still think the price shouldn't be so high. If you consider Nora's,
Datin Ani refused to listen anymore.
It's final. Take it or leave it. I'm sure you wouldn't want to see your son disappointed.
oh, all right, I'm sure we can work this out. Please, hold on. I will have to speak to my son, Azman.
Liberty.
Nora, a potential buyer, I think.
Hissed Datin Ani excitedly.
At ease, dear. Why are you stuck in a ridiculous pose? Come, sit here with me while we wait.
Datin Ani patted the space beside her. She looked at her daughter and lovingly put one protective arm around her. She squeezed her daughter and said,
I just want to make sure that everything goes right for you this time.
Nora nodded slowly. Datin Ani was now smiling to herself.
My dream is about to come true. Wedding of the year for Nora Dato Abdurrahim. We will have it in 5-star hotel, no less. I'm going to invite all the big shots and celebrities. Oh, it's going to be a beautiful wedding for my lovely Nora.
Said the Datin dreamily.
Datin? Datin!
Yam called out to her. Datin Ani responded in a daze.
Yes, Cik Yang, what did Azman say?
Datin, do you accept credit card or can I write you a check?
Hearing this, Datin Ani's face lighted up.
I prefer cash, actually, but credit card is acceptable. I even have a machine ready. You know, I have to be careful with personal checks. You never know what can happen. I learned from experience. I hope you understand.
I understand you very well, Datin.
Muttered Yam under her breath, rolling her eyes.
In that case, consider your daughter so.
Both mothers shook hands.
You may have looked at Nora. You are very wise, Cik Yam. Azman is a very lucky man.
Said the delighted Datin.
Nora, come here. Let your future mother-in-law have a closer look at you.
So, the deal was clinched, and Nora was to be Azman's wife for the agreed sum of dowry.
And now, Cik Yam, about the wedding date.
Tonight is the night of the wedding ceremony. Nora was all made up and was dressed in one of her many bridal costumes, her fingers handmade and adorned with precious jewelry. She sat at her dressing table, staring at her reflection in the mirror, looking pensive. The akad nikah ceremony was going on, after which the bridegroom will come in to put the wedding ring on the bride's finger, witnessed by family members. Suddenly, the door opened.
Mommy, you look beautiful.
It was Nora's 3-year-old daughter from her previous marriage. Honey crawled onto Nora's lap, and Nora kissed the top of Honey's head lovingly. It's every mother's wish to see her daughter happy, A lesson learned when Nora herself became a mother. Honey was everything to her as Nora was to her own mother.
A big round of applause for our talented actresses. That was such a great performance. In as Nora, Sarah Hanin as the narrator, Shafarina Farisa as Puan Tipa and Lady Wan. Say hi to the audiences. Nurul Iza as Lady 2 and Hani, Amelia Zahari as Datin Ani, Sabrina Sham as Chit Yam, and the last one is Sharon Duba as Lady 3. All right, next, let us move on to the second story. Brace yourself for another cinematic experience. I present to you The Misfortune of Roslinda Awang.
Roslinda Awang, or better known as Rosie, to all of us, is a well-loved lady in the kampong. Her loving and kind nature made all of us warm up to her in a short time. She was always seen around lending a helping hand in the paddy fields or sweeping the dry leaves of the dusty one-way streets leading into the village. Her son, Ismail, was also a kind soul. You could see him helping his mother wash the clothes at the well and dry them under the coconut tree. At one glance, they really do seem like a perfect family.
Ismail is such a sweet son, isn't he, Haja? Unlike the devil I got at home, the only thing is good is eating only. After that, sleeping.
Said Maksum.
Yes, yes, Maksum. Rosie raised him really well being a single parent, you know?
Replied Haja.
Single parent? Don't assume, Haja. We don't really know her well.
Said Maksum. Well, Maksum was right. No one really knew anything about her past or how she came to be in this kampong. Rosie and her son Ismail moved into the village 2 years ago into an old abandoned wooden shed. They arrived with nothing more than the clothes on their backs. It raised many eyebrows and questions, especially regarding the whereabouts of her husband. Was she trying to escape him, or was she hunted down by long shots? Is that why they came into the village? Nonetheless, the villagers all took pity on them and helped Rosie rebuild her wooden shed. The men and young boys came together to fix a leaking roof. If it's one for them, Rosie and Ismail would be so each time it rained at night while they were fast asleep. The ladies, on the other hand, helped Rosie clean the entire house from top to bottom. In turn, Rosie would cook the most scrumptious meals: nasi kabu, rendang ayam, kangkung belacan, you name it, and Rosie would have it prepared for you. I wonder where she learns to cook like that. The whole village came together for a whole month to help this family, and I had never seen them so united. But of course, the women couldn't keep their capable mouth to themselves and started asking Rosie questions about her life before she came to live in this village.
So, Rosie, where do you live before this? Your cooking is so excellent. I am sure your husband is a very happy man. By the way, where is he?
The question kept coming, attacking her like a bullet. But Rosie, calm and composed.
I will tell you one fine day.
It's all she ever said. Years passed, and the villagers had forgotten all about the mystery clouding Rosie. She found a job as a clerk at the local post office and continued to provide for her son, Ismail, until one day, the usually quiet and peaceful kampong was shaken.
So, this is where you have been hiding all this while.
To the ground,
How dare you run away with my son?
he continued.
I am taking Ismail with me. You can rot here for the rest of your miserable life.
Now at this point, the entire village had gathered at the scene, and they all shocked to see what was unfolding in front of them. But Ramli, as the village chief, came forward to stop the heated argument.
Who are you and what do you want? You have no right to treat a woman like that.
Who I am is none of your business. What you do have to know is that you have a liar living in your midst. She ran away with my only son.
This man said, lifting his arm, wanting to strike Rosie's face.
Please, you know that it is a lie. You never wanted him.
Sobbed Rosie.
Believe what you want. I am taking him with me. And if anyone dares to stop me, you see what I can do.
This man threatened while taking Ismail with him.
Ma, what is happening?
Rosie clung to the man's leg in protest.
Don't do this. I'll do anything you want. He's all I have.
The man refused to listen to anything Rosie had to say. He simply strapped her off like she was an insect and drove away while Ismail looked at his wailing mothers with tears streaming down his cheeks. The villagers quickly surrounded Rosie and brought her up into fit. Before anyone could ask what just happened, but Ramli quickly said,
Keep your questions to yourself, Asma. Please bring Rosie back to her house. Everyone else, dismiss.
the villagers knew better than to defy the chief.
Do you want some water or tea, Rosie?
Asma asked.
No, Asma. I still can't believe my son is gone.
She replied while crying again.
Rosie, I know it's on my place to ask, but what was that all about? Who's that man?
Taking a deep breath, she answered.
Asma, I've put this off for a long time. I should have told you and the other ladies the truth. Kamarudin and I met in college about 10 years ago. I was a first-year degree student while he was in his third year. He was a very bright student and high achiever. I still remember how all my girlfriends would go crazy at the mention of his name.
Hey, Rosie! You know what? Kama has been staring at you since the beginning of the drama club meeting. You know what? I think he has an eye for you. Oh my God!
Lata teased me. Oh, please. Maybe I just remind him of someone he knows. I replied. True enough, Kamal had his eyes locked on me for the entire 2 hours. I began to feel uncomfortable. I even double-checked to see if there was anything stuck on my face. After the meeting, I gathered my things and rushed out the door. And there, he was waiting for me.
Roslina, right?
He said, as he gave me his most daring smile. Yes, but you can call me Rose, I replied shyly.
Let me walk you back to your hostel. It's getting late.
And the rest was history. We spent more time with each other than with any of our other friends. We had many things in common, such as our love for books, cooking, and acting. He showered me with many gifts, and it made me wonder about his family background. Then I found out that he was from a wealthy family
who owned half the business in the state. His father was recently given a doctorship for his outstanding service to the community.
Rosie, do you think his family will accept you?
One of my closest friends asked. Why not? Surely the only one come out to be happy and he loves me very much. I replied proudly. Many of my friends accuse me as only being with Kamal for his money, but I ignored their pointless claims. Kamal was the one. I can feel it. He even promised me that he would marry me right after I completed my GP. I couldn't be happier, Asma. He was the man of my dreams. You must understand, Asma, that Kamal is a very manipulative man. I understand that very well now. He used my innocence to his advantage to get what he wants. He would always use my love towards him as an excuse to do things for him. You know, at first, it was just little things like completing his assignments and washing his clothes. But then, one night, he went out of line.
You love me, right, Rose? Then spend the night with me.
He told me, Kamal, you know that it is wrong. This is not in our teaching. You can ask me to do that.
Rosie, my dear, what are you afraid of? Didn't I promise to marry you?
He said in an attempt to persuade me. Every word that he uttered was so persuasive. I just couldn't say no. Oh my goodness! What am I going to do? I remember crying to myself as I looked at the pregnancy kit. It was positive. However, I took refuge at the thought that, Kamal, I think I am pregnant.
What? This is impossible. I can't believe it.
What are we going to do? I said while beginning to cry again.
Okay. Calm down. Tomorrow, we will go to my father and explain the situation. I will marry you, Rose.
What in the world were you thinking, Kamal?
His father exploded in anger. I remember how red his face was. It was as if he was on fire.
You can marry her. She is a commoner.
He looked at me in disgust.
Have you ever thought of my reputation as a dato? What am I supposed to tell my friends that my only son decided to marry a village girl? My God!
I've never felt so humiliated in my life, Asma.
But Abba, she's pregnant with my child. I can't just abandon her.
Listen here, girl. We will pay for all the child's need and medical fees. I will personally to see it. But don't ever dream of marrying my son. Come on, if you are still adamant, I will ship you off everything and will chase you out of the house. I won't pay you a single cent.
Deep down, I knew Kamal would never leave his family for me. But still, I was utterly heartbroken when he told me his decision.
Sorry, Rose. I tried.
That was all he was able to say. I withdrew from the university a month after that without telling anyone it was better that way. I went back to the village to live with my parents and my two younger siblings. My father threw a huge fit. My mother, on the other hand, though appeared to be sympathetic, was very disappointed with me. She couldn't bear to even look at me. I did receive 600 ringgit every month from Kamal to pay for the child's future expenses, but it was nothing compared to the humiliation it put me through. After Ismail was born, I knew I had to leave the village soon. I just could not stand the glare and judgment from the villagers. That was when my mother told me of her old property in Kampung Irama. I left everything and came here to escape from it all. Coming here was the best decision I've ever made. Everything was perfect. Up until now.
Then Rosie started crying again, thinking of Ismail. After countless of visits to Kamal residence, he agreed to let Rosie see Ismail during the weekends. Though it pained her heart to accept such terms, she knew that was the best Kamal was willing to offer. Kamal too was very arrogant in his decisions, as he knew Rosie could never afford to take the case to court. Rosie also knew that Ismail has a bright future ahead if he stayed with his father. What happened to Rosie served as a lesson to all young girls out there to always choose friends wisely. I really do hope things would turn around for her one day. Inshallah.
Marvelous. Thank you to our amazing actors and actresses for their performance. Now, let me introduce you guys to our talented actors and actors. We have Moose as the narrator, Nadia as Maksum and Asma, Ainul as Haja and Lata, Rosie's friend, Aush as Ismail, Pak Ramli and Rosie's father, Hakim as Kamal's father, Izu as Kamal, and the last one is Abby as Roslinda or Rosie. Further ado, let's enjoy the last story for the day. Once again, I would love to remind our audiences to mute, you turn off your camera for the best experience. Everyone,
Lisa's soft gasp was heard in the stillness of dawn. The dorm lights were still off because rules dictate that they can only be switched on at 6 a.m. The girls made their way around in the dark, dressing up, making their beds, and doing various dorm duties as shown on the roster. A few girls left what they were doing and quickly gathered around her.
Look!
Started Lisa, pointing to her bed. The crowd grew. The only source of light came from the corridor, but even with the lack of lighting, the cause of Lisa's horror was evident.
It has happened again, Lisa. 5 times in 2 weeks.
Commented Noor, who was standing closest to Lisa, holding a feather duster. The crowd buzzed excitedly. Being first formers in their third week of boarding school was already too exciting for most of them. There were school rules to get familiar with, school seniors to be wary of, and homesickness to deal with. And now this. This surely beats anything from Miss Blyton's boarding school series, some of them thought. This was the 5th time it had happened. Lisa would walk into the dorm after her morning shower to find her bed made up and her clothes all neatly folded and put away in her cupboard. At first, she thought one of her dorm mates was kind enough to cope with this new boarding school way of making her bed while she showered. But no one owned up to it, and by the look of things, each and every 13-year-old in the dorm was struggling to get used to being independent. It was a mystery because no one saw anyone making Lisa's bed. Suddenly, the dorm lights were switched on. It was 6 a.m. Lisa was standing still as a statue. Her face was white. She continued staring at her bed.
Lisa, you like it then. At least you cannot forget about making your bed for a bit.
Joe jokingly remarked and gently nudged Lisa's arm with her elbow. Joe continued.
I wish someone will like me enough to make my bed for me.
As she moved to her bed, which was at the other end of the dorm, the crowd slowly dispersed. Lisa's daily dorm duty was also taken care of. If she was due to dust the windows, then the windows would already be dusted. If her turn came to sweep a particular area of the dorm, then that area would already be cleaned. Today, she had to arrange shoes outside the dorm. Some of the girls went out of the dorm to look, and true enough, the shoes were neatly arranged along the corridor. The dorm returned to its hustle and bustle of girls doing the necessary, and by 6:30, most of the girls were already at the dining hall getting the tables ready for the breakfast. Lisa and Noor slowly made their way to the dining hall. From far, through the glass doors of the dining hall, they can see their friends moving around fast, wiping tables, arranging cups and plates, pouring coffee or tea into the cups, choosing breads that match to be paired, all done with utmost care.
How are you feeling, Lisa?
Asked Noor.
I'm alright, I guess. I'm thinking about what has happened these past few days. I'm scared, Noor. I know it's nice having things done for you, but this is creepy. It do be relief to find out that it is actually a prank play on me.
Said Lisa.
Hey, do you remember one of the seniors telling us that story about some school myth? What's the lady called? Gosh, it sort of ring a bell to me when these funny things happened to you the second time that day.
Said Noor.
Oh, you mean the story of the Green Lady? They say everyone in this school knows the story of the Green Lady. Wait! So you're saying that the Green Lady chose me to go on this time?
Before Noor could answer, they saw a few interested faces from other dorms waiting at the dining hall entrance. They had heard about what happened to Lisa this morning. Lisa told them she had to hurry to start setting up her table for breakfast and that she'll update them in school later that day. But Lisa need not worry about updating the others. By the start of school that day, the whole school was talking about what had happened to her this morning.
I can't believe that the myth is actually true. I thought it was just a story passed down from generation to generation.
Chattered a third former excitedly.
Wait, which girl is that? Let's call her to our dorm later this afternoon and listen to her story firsthand.
Said a fourth former. Asked a second former. By the time school finished that day, Lisa was officially the Green Lady's daughter. Naturally, Lisa was quite upset of the whole spectacle of which she was the unwitting and unsuspecting player. Now, another girl in her situation would have run to the phone booth with a container of coins to ask her parents for help. But Lisa was an orphan. She was the only survivor in a car crash that happened 12 years ago. Lisa was brought up in an orphanage until she was offered a place to study at a boarding school for her secondary education. Lisa walked with Noor, Joe, and a few other girls and headed for lunch at the dining hall. While they were queuing for food, a group of fifth formers from the back of the queue came up to them.
Are you Lisa?
Asked a fifth former, whose name escaped those wide-eyed first formers. That was a bad news for a start. The question, unfortunately, was directed at Noor, who trembled a bit before shaking her head.
Lost the tongue, kid. Who's Lisa?
Asked another fifth former impatiently. She was a prefect and was a familiar face to the new students. Lisa slowly raised her hand.
I'm Lisa.
Said Lisa slowly and quickly looked down. She wondered what kind of trouble she was into wearing this curie.
So, you are Lisa.
A third fifth former retorted. All three pairs of eyes were fixed on Lisa, who was red in the face. Lisa's friend kept still as if knowing that the slightest movement made would probably attract unnecessary attention from those fifth formers. That was the last thing they needed at this point. The queue inched a bit closer to the food counter. The prefect, who was known as Tini, broke the silence.
Okay, Lisa, come to my room after lunch. You do know where my room is, don't you? Well, if you don't find out, you can bring friends with you if you want. Be there, and yes, you wouldn't want to be late.
This was followed by sniggers by the other two fifth formers, Rin and Ita. The queue was moving, although at snail's pace. They were serving chicken rice today. Grumbling stomach would have been heard if not for the bustling atmosphere of hungry attacking their food. Lisa nodded quietly. The others were silently hoping that this would end quickly. Just as they thought the three were leaving, Ita casually said,
I hope you all don't mind us jumping the queue. Excuses, girls.
as she and friends made their way to stand in front of Lisa's group. Lisa didn't enjoy her lunch. She dreaded 3 o'clock. When 3 o'clock came, Lisa, Noor, and Joe knocked on Tini's door and gave the appropriate greetings. Come in, shouted a voice who was not Tini's. Joe pushed the door open. The three of them saw not three fifth formers, but close to 20 of them sitting or sprawling on any available space in the room. Lisa froze.
What are you kids waiting for? Come on in and close the door behind you.
Said Tini. Noor pushed the door shut behind her. The three girls stood huddled together, avoiding the stares of those in front of them. Say, some voices were heard. They don't know whose voices they were. The three girls slowly lowered their bodies to the floor, but froze when they heard, come closer, we won't eat you, we're still full from lunch. Sniggers were heard, and they slowly moved a bit closer and sat on the floor, still huddled close. They heard some of the fifth formers talking.
The one in the middle.
Lisa's heart thumped so hard, she almost believed everyone in the room heard it. Skinny came and sat right in front of the tree. She started ball rolling.
Well, Lisa, we heard what happened to you. It must be really scary for you, I'm sure. But you should also be aware that you are now quite famous. The school myth is coming alive. The Green Lady has chosen you.
Lisa didn't lift her head. Tini went on with her speech.
Well, good of you to come. The whole school is curious and excited about this. But I don't mean this in an insensitive way. I'm sure it has not been easy for you, Lisa.
Lisa slowly looked up and nodded. All eyes were on her. Another person by the name of Ida added,
The last time this happened was 10 years ago, according to our seniors. It happened to a first former like you. We think we know why the Green Lady has chosen you, Lisa. You were brought up in an orphanage, like the girl from 10 years ago.
Seeing that tears were welling up Lisa's eyes, Ida gently added,
We don't mean to upset you, Lisa. Please, don't cry. We want to help you to understand why this is happening to you. Is it okay if we continue?
Lisa clutched Noor's hand and nodded. She waited for Ida to continue.
According to the story, the great lady comes to the school in search of her daughter. This is how it goes.
Lisa listened closely.
Many years ago, there was a woman and her daughter. The woman's husband died in a car accident, which the woman and the baby daughter survived. Many men wanted to take the woman as the second wife, for she was a young and beautiful widow. But the woman rejected all the marriage proposals. She believed that she could provide her daughter with much love and happiness without the complication of having a stepfather around. The woman sewed clothes for the village folks and cooked rice dishes to be sold at the neighboring food stall. She stayed up into the night sewing under the dim kerosene light. She had to wake up early to prepare food to be sent to the food stall. The little girl was always with her. As a baby, she was tied to the mother's back with a cloth. The little girl was When the little girl could toddle, she was always playing around with the mother while her mother worked and sometimes imitating her mother's action as she cooked, cleaned, and sewed. Indeed, she was a joy to her mother's heart. The woman doted on her daughter day and night, working hard to give her daughter the best life, the best opportunity in the education. True, life was hard as money was scarce, but what's important is they had each other, and that was all that mattered. And
Mm.
And when the daughter turned 12, she did very well in a major examination and was offered to go to school very far away from the village. The school is believed to be this school of ours. The daughter, of course, didn't want to leave her mother, but the mother was firm about her decision of sending her daughter to the school. Her heart broke having to part with her daughter, but this was a sacrifice she had to make for her daughter's future. The daughter cried for many days, telling her over and over again that this was for the best. At night, the woman quietly cried as she held her daughter close while the girl slept, cheek wet and sometimes sobbing. So
the bus stop in the nearby town, a teacher waited to accompany the girl to the new school. Before the girl boarded the bus, the mother gave her a hug while doing her best to hold back tears. She told her daughter that she'd be waiting for her to come for the holidays. She told her daughter to study hard and not to worry about anything. When the bus left the station, the woman crumbled in corner and sobbed hard. I guess the pain of being separated was too much to bear, that the woman sat at the village bus stop every single day, imagining that her daughter would come down from any bus that stopped. She would do this when she had finished her household chores on the way to the food stall to bring back her basket used to carry the food daily. The daughter wrote home several times saying how she missed her mother, but telling her not to worry because she was enjoying school and was making friends. So, 5 long, lonely months passed, and the day grew to come to the visit of young Polly. At night, she still smiled as she went about doing her chores. She still sat at the bus stop on her way back from the store, imagining how she would welcome her child. She planned on meals she would cook for her daughter and looked forward to listening to stories from the school at bedtime. The day came at last, and the woman in high spirits, getting ready to go and wait for her daughter at the village bus stop. She dressed nicely and carried with her a bottle of water in case her daughter was thirsty when she got down the bus. She had nicely prepared her daughter's favorite dish of ikan pakasam to be eaten later with hot rice. The woman, in her haste to go to the bus stop, missed a step going down her house. Oh my. So she stumbled and fell. The water bottle fell and broke into pieces. The woman lay on the ground, motionless, with her head bleeding. According to the neighbors who were at the scene, the woman wanted to say something, but no words came. She died with her eyes wide open. And the daughter? The daughter never got to the bus stop anyway. She had been seriously ill with high fever at school for a few days, and the news couldn't get to her mother fast. They say she kept calling out for her mother, 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 and that the medication given to her had no effect in bringing her temperature down. And the girl eventually passed away.
Said Ida in a hushed voice, signaling the end of the story. Tears rolled down Lisa's cheeks. She wiped them away with the back of her hand. So this was the story behind the Green Lady. Ida continued.
And that is why the lady continued searching for her daughter. Eventually, she is known as the Green Lady because of our school color.
Lisa looked around the room. She saw those present looking at her sympathetically. Some of them were dabbing their eyes and cheeks. Noor was also teary-eyed. Joe looked down and played with the hem of her dress. For the first time in that room, Lisa spoke.
The pain felt so familiar. I grew up with it. But I do probably have to ask the green lady to stop looking after me. I will write to her and tell her that her daughter is safe and happy. And she don't need to worry. I will leave the letter tomorrow on my bed before I go to school tomorrow.
Yes, that might work.
Said Noor shyly. Joe nodded, still playing with the hem of her skirt.
They say that the Green Lady will stop once the girl goes to the second form, but it isn't every year that a first former gets chosen. It only happens once in a blue moon. So I guess this year the blue moon is out.
Said Tini, followed by some nervous laughter from the background.
I still think I need to do something about it. I know the green lady means no harm, but we all need to go on living normally in this school, don't we? My mother would want to know that I'm being taken care of well and doing alright. I want my mother to rest in peace knowing that I'm okay. I want the green lady to rest in peace too.
There was a pin drop silence in the room. Ida broke the silence a few seconds later.
I think that's a good idea, Lisa. One thing I've realized is that the green lady represents the warmth and beauty of a mother's love. You made me see it, Lisa. I think, like most people, I've only been interested in over sensationalizing the school myth.
Ida wiped a tear. The room started bustling and everyone was talking at the same time. Tini hushed the crowd. She turned to the three first formers and told them,
I think that's enough for now, okay? You all can go now. Keep us posted on what happens after this, will you?
the three of them stood up and uttered their thank yous. They clumsily headed towards the door. As they were leaving the room, Tini loudly said,
Oh, Joe, do you mind staying back for a bit?
Lisa and Noor hurriedly left. 2 months passed without any strange occurrence as far as the Green Lady is concerned. Lisa did as she said she would and left a letter addressed to the Green Lady on her pillow as she left for school one day. The letter was still there when she came back from school. Lisa slipped it under her pillow and it has been there ever since. There was some part of Lisa that was convinced that this was a trick played on her. But the other side of her would like to believe the existence of the Green Lady for sentimental reasons. Life for her went on as usual, and after a while, the Green Lady issue blew over. There were exams to sit for, concerts, and drama competitions to rehearse and matches. Lisa's late mother would certainly be proud of her if she was still around. Any mother would be so lucky to have Lisa as a daughter.
Hey, Joe, come here a second.
Tini called out to Joe during lunch. Joe left her group of friends and walked up to Tini, who was sitting at the dining table alone. Tini put down her mug and looked at Joe, who was now standing on the other side of the table.
Have you done anything as we discussed? How is the girl?
Asked Tini. Joe shuffled her feet uncomfortably.
It's been 2 months, and the excitement is gone. The letter is under her pillow now. It'd be difficult to pull another prank on her after this. Everyone is now more alert that we know our dorm members better now. When I started, a lot of us didn't know who the other person is and who sleep on which bed.
Said Joe.
Furthermore, I think it's not right to take advantage of her orphan self and sensationalize the school myth.
What? Oh, you have lost your sense of fun, Joe. I am disappointed in you.
Tini retorted while digging her fork in her fish.
I thought you wanted to learn how to have fun in school after listening to my adventures while you were growing up. Well, suit yourself. Oh, and Mom wants you to call home. I think your exam result has reached her.
Said Tini with a mean smile. She stood up, noisily pushed her chair back and left. Joe's eyes watered. Tini, her sister, would never let her off the hook that easily. She always thought she wanted to be cool like her sister. But not anymore. Joe then headed off to her dorm. She was no longer hungry.
That was such a lovely performance. Let me introduce our actors and actresses for the Green Lady. We have Muhaimin as the narrator, Sabrina Ramisham as Lisa, Amelia Zahari as Noor, Irene Sophia as Jo, Sarah Hanin as Tini, Zulaika Wira as Ita and Ida, Sharon Duba as second former and fifth former 1, Shafarina Farisa as third former, fifth former, and fifth former 3. And the last one is Nuru Iza as the fourth former and fifth former 2 and 4. Before I end this, an honorary mention and thank you to those who had made this event possible, especially to our current and former lecturers, and also our hardworking committees for their never-ending efforts to ensure the success of this program. We have Ms. Zilfa Zainal Abidin as the director, as well as the advisor of Abstract Theatre Unit, Madam Siti Nordina Muhammad Ali as the advisor of Eagles English Club, Wan Nur Iza Shahira Wan Anwar as the stage manager for the Green Lady and the auction, Awang, Ain Irna Izani as the event manager, Muhammad Ikramat program director, and all members of executive committee from Eagles English Club and Abstract Theatre Unit. Finally, we have come to the end of our program. Thank you so much to all audiences for joining us tonight, and we hope you guys enjoy all the performances just now. We hope this online theater. Stay safe, everyone. And with that, I end our program for tonight. But don't forget to fill in the feedback form provided in the chat box. You may leave now. Thank you.
Rin, thank you, Rin.
Miss, kita tak ada photography session, right?
Patutnya itulah fikirkan. Tak apalah kalau dah semua orang dah keluar, kita bergambar antara kita je lah kot. Nanti untuk anakku Sazali kita buat ya.
Okay. Kalau Rin nak, tak apalah nantilah.
Kenapa Rin? Lupa, tak ada ni ha.
Tak, Rin macam ada banyak benda lah yang Rin macam terfikir kan.
Thank you Atika.
Kak Tika ada lagi.
Tak boleh dengar kita ya?
Kak Tika mana? Ada. Nur Atika Muhammad Raiza.
Nanti Rin bagi tu feedback pasal technicalities ya.
Okay.
Ya Allah ya Tuhan. Suruhlah dia orang keluar cepat. Sebab kita nak buat briefing.
Miss. Miss nak ada dalam ni ke ataupun
apa benda, apa yang sepatutnya kita buat boleh je. Thank you Madam Dina. Tadi nama Madam Dina tak dengar apa tu masa MC cakap sebab internet tu. Fatin
It's not clear ke tadi?
Dia macam hari ni je jadi macam tu.
Apa dia Miss?
Siapa tu Syafika? Tadi Syafika internet dia not good.
Ya.
Sebab hari ni tiba-tiba hujan lebat pula tu macam ribut. So
tapi
tadi memang
benda
connection terus sikit lah.
Orang cakap jangan stress ourselves up lah. Kita apa kita boleh buat kan?
Mm-mm.
Alhamdulillah lah. No problem.
Sakit dah habis pun.
Ya, sebab internet. Siapa yang boleh kawal internet tu? Kan? Okay, diorang tak pergi. Can you, admin boleh ni ke? Boleh keluarkan orang ke? Ni kita je kan? Kita je. Okey lah. Tinggal 5 orang ni. Bawa Madam Dina masuk, babe. Boleh? Boleh bawa Madam Dina masuk? Sekejap.
Rina add Madam Dina jadi panelis.
Dah.
Madam,
Madam
Rina minta maaf boleh tak?
Kenapa?
Macam ni, macam Rin kan bukannya handy registration kan, tapi ada orang bagi Rin Darkness Rin Darkness pula. Orang bagi email dekat Rin. Lepas tu Rin tersend yang Rin punya email lah sebab Rin tak ada apa yang Rin tak handle yang tu, tapi Rin terpaksa bagi yang Rin punya. So ada yang terjadi panelis.
Tak apa. Kejap lagi kita cakap balik.
Tak apa, faham.
Madam Dina. Tadi actually MC ada sebut nama you, cakap terima kasih semua tahu, tapi internet tu tak, dia punya speech tu dah cantik dah.
Ya. Saya dengar.
Ada Madam Dina advisor of
My internet.
Memang internet sini.
Dengar.
MC pun itulah, kita sangat berterima kasih for your support tonight. Apa benda, maknanya tadi ada orang message I cakap sound tak dengar apa, I cakap macam ni lah buat show online, kita tak boleh nak jaga.
Betul.
Dan tapi Madam Dina, you think budak-budak buat terbaik kan, bagus kan diorang? I mean yalah, despite kita
I think okay. Kita ada recording kan?
Ada simpan, kita ada buat recording. Betul, benda ni pun dekat Facebook live juga you.
I pun sebab